I love my kids, but whenever I can get someone to take care of them, that's
Get them out of my sight. Like one was okay, but when you have two, that's yes, you had twins. You never know the difference, but
so. The first time I asked you for an interview was in 2013 when I was organizing the Top Experts League. And back then you didn't decline, but you also didn't accept. You just didn't answer. Yeah.
Fair and
Now
simple.
this time around, I was a bit more confident you would reply, and let me tell you why. So a few weeks ago, I was watching your stream, and your microphone was acting up a bit, and I think it was making a weird sound or something. And so I asked you what microphone you have, and you said, I have the same one you do, Majmoha.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does he know what microphone I have? He watched the podcast. The great DauT has watched my podcast.
Oh, look at the investigator here.
So the next thing I did was just to message Orion, Viper, and ask him what would be the best way to contact you. And after a few weeks and a couple of dirty tricks in between, here you are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I love those things.
So I thought you might have watched the podcast, but I wasn't sure if you really did. So in the invitation I sent you, I also attach a link to the first episode of the podcast with Viper, just so you get an idea how things will look like.
I didn't. I fast forward over. I will not listen for 2 hours Viper like that.
But so the thing is, I immediately regretted sending you the link because I remember that episode. In that episode, me and Viper spent like the first 8 minutes talking about you. Were you mad about that?
That's the part I check. That's basically the only part I check. I was like, click on the link and I hear DauT. Okay, now this sounds interesting. Let's see what they have to say about that. And,
Yeah, it all came from a place of love and admiration for DauT.
That didn't feel that way, but okay. Let's say it like that.
Okay, listen, man. You've been playing the game since it came out, 1999. And in fact, you were so obsessed with it and you played it so much, you ended up having to quit school. Now, your first big tournament was, I believe, the Black Forest tournament, organized with the Legion clan in 2002. You made it to the finals, but then you lost it to Chris. And that was like the start of this long rivalry between the two of you. And some of you guys might actually have seen this very same Chris streaming last year. He made a short comeback, but unfortunately seems to be gone again. Now, I remember a lot of great names from those days, but I don't remember exactly when was their prime and when were they the most active, So in 2002, when you lost the tournament to Chris, was he already the best player in the world?
Yeah. I keep saying that I lost to Chris, yeah. That will make me to go away. And what's the point of interview when you know every single detail? You're like, you quit the school. But you're going to ask me then. Every single detail of my life.
Just wait for it, man. Just wait for it. Yeah, but tell me, was Chris like the best player back then?
I did already say this once, I think, to the Nelly podcast. It's like we were always both thinking we are the best. Like, we are, like, to be number one, I think you have to be a little bit overconfident. You need to believe in yourself that you're better than everybody else, right? And Chris and myself were both thinking like that. So we both see ourselves like we are the number one. Either guy is obviously a super good player, but I'm better.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like several years later, I think we were about the same, more or less the same. I know when I start getting good that we were about the same level. And Kapoch was always there around behind us, but capable to beat us, but one level lower than us, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So I remember guys like Grunt and Halen and Champion. So when were those guys active and when were they at the top?
That was before me, actually. I did start playing Age of Empires with 1.0C version. I didn't play Age of Kings. I didn't play 1.0 version, 1.0B. When the scouts had only 3 attack, I didn't play then. And that's when the Korean boys were the strongest ones. And Helen, I think 2002 for the World Cyber Games. Years I don't exactly remember. But he was absolutely dominated at that point. He was like only person going scouts, even if enemy is forwarding you. Like back then, when enemy forwards you, you are kind of dead because people panic, they don't multitask so well, and also the lag was a big deal.
Mhm.
So him going the scout defense and stopping that was super impressive to see. Now
Mhm.
it's normal. Now nobody even forwards anymore. It doesn't sound like that, but at that point it was like magical.
Yeah. So, as you very well know, back then, getting hold of recorded games, I mean, especially from professional players, was really hard. And I don't remember how it happened, but at some point, someone in the Portuguese community sent me a pack of recorded games from Coven. And those were the first professional games I had ever watched. And obviously, I was totally blown away. The huge feudal armies, skirms and spears, the speed, the chaos. It was amazing. So Coven holds, a special place
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
heart.
For every old player as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So where I'm wondering is where would you place him, like in the ranking of the greatest players of all time? When was he really good?
I don't think you and me can be objective there. We are
Hmm.
old players and we will rate him really high. But generally speaking, he was one of the first playing. I think he holds a lot of talent. Like, if you remember, he went to the army, didn't play the game for 3 years. During those 3 years, I climbed to the top of the ladder, was considered the best player.
Hmm.
He come back after 1 month, he was beating me.
Hmm.
So he didn't know the meta. He just like instantly come back and be one of the best. Think
Hmm.
in 2 days we played 12 games and the final score was 6-6. And
Oh
after
wow.
that he was gone again.
Uh
So
huh.
yeah, he was highly talented player.
Hmm. He also played other games, I think, didn't he? Like I don't know, Warcraft
Think
3 or something.
Rainbow Six he played, and I
Rainbow
think he
Six. Okay.
got really good there.
Uh
But
huh.
that's something I don't follow.
Yeah. Um. So your rivalry with Chris is one of the most iconic ones, in the long history of Age of Empires 2. Were you guys friendly to one another, or was there no love
You
lost
already
between you two?
know the answer.
Well, I'm not
Okay,
sure. I'm
yeah.
not sure. I know there was a problem between Chris and KCap, but between you and Chris, I don't know. I really don't know.
Chris and myself were like I considered friends for the. Well, I still consider the friends. We had a
Hmm.
small dispute, the problem when the World Clan League was announced. Well, I guess this is a long story then.
Yeah, just go for it, man.
Well, first, like Chris and myself, we played for really long. He was part of my team as well. He was always nice to me, and one of the top players who was actually cool top player.
Hmm.
Back then, top players were not as chill as you know. They don't even answer when you ask them something. Like,
Sounds familiar.
yeah, freaking assholes. But I don't know. It just was like that. And Chris was really nice. I
Hmm.
was always answering, was always nice, and yeah, we had a good communication. We had a good games. We had zero problems. We were friends. Like even play tournaments, who win, who lose, no hard feelings. Like GG, well done.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then for the when World Clan League 6, right, was announced, or 7, not
7
exactly.
was 2012, I think.
Then 6, I think.
Hmm.
It was the Tyrant sponsor. The Tyrant didn't exist then.
Hmm.
So the sponsor was there to put 5K into the team game tournament. And I was not sure who I team up with. Like I was waiting for the Cab final answer.
Hmm.
Cab was like not having time. He was waiting for the thing granting Helen to confirm. And I was like saying Chris. At the same time, Chris was asking me to play with him. I told him I deserve. I cannot say no to Cab. Like you're all
Hmm.
again. It's a long story. With Cab, I have a different type of friendship. Like he is one of the rare people in my life that invest so much time to help you for no reason at all. Like he was preparing for tournaments, he didn't ask anything, not even to mention him, which
Hmm.
obviously did, and I'm doing
Hmm.
here. He was a huge part of my road in Age of Empires. He was so committed to help me to be number one for some reason.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, being a friend, I guess, is a good
Hmm.
reason.
Yeah, saw
So
the
yes,
potential in
obviously
you too.
he holds a bigger spot in my heart. So
Hmm.
I was saying to Chris, I will team up with Cab if he can. If he can't, we go together. And now the problem was Cap confirmed in kind of last moment. So Chris was kind of already signed us up. He was thinking we are the team. And then a few days before sign-ups end, I team up with Cap.
Hmm.
And then the kind of
It cooled off the
yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Okay.
He was like Tyrant buying players, blah blah
Hmm.
blah. Like, the friends are more important than money, but Cap is. I mean,
Hmm.
Cap
Cap
is my
was
friend.
your friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah. I
not
don't.
exactly
I
that.
did know that. Did know that at all.
Yeah.
Uh huh. I remember you saying your styles were completely different. How would you describe them, both yours and his?
Chris was more like Leary today. He was aggressive. He used his army. Now, if you watch the code games, you will not use his army perfectly. Imagine it was lag. It was like 10 years ago, but he used his army on the high potential for that period of the game. While I was more macro oriented, like I'm today, more decision making, more building up economy behind, and taking the big moves later on. So yeah, it was like Leary was Chris, and I was I'm still playing like that.
Yeah, so at one point, I think everybody agreed you surpassed him. So your level was higher than his. And that's when your era of complete domination, the DauT era, started. When do you think this was, approximately?
When he challenged me for best of 21, I think.
That's how people used to decide who's the best player, right?
Yeah, he started the thing, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of not even sure. I think I was busy playing poker at that point or something. I know I didn't answer him for some time, and he was like making a big drama, like, DauT, let's go, let's see who is the best, show to people, do we have balls or not? And eventually we both put $500 to it, and we played best of 21. Now it was not 1 day or 2 days like this in present times.
Longer time.
I think we split it in like whole month, like once per week. If I think we played only a weekend or something like that. I'm not recalling exactly, but it was a bit longer. I mean, players nobody was professional at that point, right? You don't have time to play like 20 games in 1 day. Now that's a normal day job. Like, and if you're a member, you cast 20 games after that as well. But
so
things changed. Things changed. But back then, 21 games were quite a lot, and also there were technical issues, the lag, the problems, the drops. It's nothing to compare to today's standards.
So you already mentioned you joining Tyrant, and I'm kind of curious how did that happen. I think it was in 2011, right?
Don't ask me dates. I don't know.
According to your Wikipedia page, it was 2011. So I hope those guys did their research. So yeah, was it KCAP who approached you, or was it the Tyrant sponsor himself?
Kind of both, but KCAP was our connection. Like Tyrant sponsor was the big fan of the old school players. He wanted to have a cab, Coven, Helen, Grant, everybody. He took the picture in the World Cyber Games. They were nice to him, and he like cherished that memory. And he asked them to form the team and win the team game tournament. And Cab, being a good friend of mine, he wanted me then team as well. So basically, Cab and me were connected there, and eventually he approached me to join the team.
And back then, so was Halen and Grunt, were they already part of the Tyrant clan?
No, they were like, they never really had a team. Do you remember the old, well, you for sure know, BSK, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they were playing for them, but I think they were not really part of the community there. They just, because again, Cab is the biggest connection to community. Cab was part of good friends of the owner of the site, and they just were the tag. So Tyrant was not made until Cab confirmed that he can play, and then he invited us all.
So that was around the WCL6?
Yeah, before the tournament, We formed the team for basically that event.
Yeah, so it must have been 2011. Sounds about right. You know, I had one single interaction with a Tyrant sponsor in my whole life. This was during the War is Coming tournament in 2014, and he wanted to spectate a game, but that game had already launched, and the room had a password. And back then, I was a staff member at Woobly, and I had this moderator tool where I could bring players inside a game room, even password protected ones. And so he sent me a message asking very politely, really nice, if I could put him inside the game room. And was like shaking, yes, sir, of course.
He is, I still don't want to talk. Maybe you know who he was or not.
No, I don't. Viper wouldn't tell me, man.
Yeah. It's a secret still, I guess. But either way, obviously a very rich and powerful man, and super nice, super friendly.
A nice one,
yeah. Amazing one, like the most amazing person I ever met.
Awesome. So during the episode I recorded with Viper, he told me the story about how he joined the Tyrant clan, you know? And so apparently someone organized this best of 7 between Tyrant and RVK. And RVK back then was Riyadh, Stogan, Jordan, Viper, so a pretty strong team. And the promise was that if the RVK guys were to win this best of 7, they would then become the second official Tyrant team, so Tyrant B, so to say. So in the end, they lost 4-3, so you guys won.
Surprise.
But KCAP was allegedly so impressed with Viper's and Jordan's performance that he still decided to hire them both for the Tyrant team. Do you remember that match?
Of course I do. It was first a show match, then it was, I think, the next big event. It was before War is Coming. I think there was one more event. Was it the World Clan League 7 then? I think it was. In finals, we actually beat Viper, Jordan, Dogao, and who else? Riot? Yeah. I think we beat them in finals. Nobody knows how. Really, nobody knows how. They were huge favorites. Like Jordan and the Viper were starting to dominate. Dogao, Riot always solid. While I was active, maybe slightly better than them, but Grant Helen didn't play at all. And Cab was there to be our like mastermind preparing the strategies. So we had a big road, big road ahead of us to win the tournament. In the end, we managed to do that. But it was the last time that Grant and Helen wanted to play. They had no time, obviously. Even for that event, somehow we won, but they had no time to play future events. So we had the open spots for the new players. Obviously, Cab and everybody else were impressed with Jordan and Viper the most, and Riot as well. Obviously, he was part of the team. But like Cab recognized the power of Viper right away. He was a smart guy. He knew Viper will be one of the best.
So yeah, that's actually what I was interested in knowing too. Was it? I've heard you say many times that you think Viper is the best player this game has ever seen.
I said that. I didn't say that.
You did say that a couple of times. No. I heard it. I heard it, man. But I'm interested. Was it clear to you right there that there was something special about this kid?
I remember when I played the ranked games with him, and I was better than him. I was beating him, and he was playing better. He was still showing me a lot of respect. He was thinking he's a weaker player, and I was like a big name. He was the upcoming one. And I was constantly beating him, but he played better. I knew he will eventually fix his problems and he will beat me. So yeah, I knew he will be one of the best sooner or later.
Okay, you recognize it right away.
Yeah. It was obvious. Like, for example,
what about Jordan?
Jordan is different type of player. Jordan is like zero talent. That guy, no, that guy doesn't even understand the game. Like zero talent, I think, but full practice, like full dedication. He got different type of talent. Let's say like that. It's amazing how much effort he's willing to put, how much understand. And it's like when I say something or somebody else, he will always consider it. It's not like, okay, DauT, yeah, okay. He will really think about it and he will try to implement that. He's a smart guy, just doesn't have talent for the game.
That's amazing that you think that, because I actually kind of well, I don't want to say I agree because I'm not knowledge enough to know that. But what I remember from him, I visited him once, 2015, I think. And he was a really disciplined guy. You know, he woke up at 6 a.m.
Exactly.
He went to the gym.
Yeah.
You know, he made he did it every day, and then he practiced Age of Empires, and then he would go to college. He would go to university. So a really disciplined guy. It's interesting to think that. Amazing.
Yeah, the same like me. You need to be disciplined if you want to be one of the best.
Yeah. Same like you, of course.
No, but seriously, Jordan is that type of guy. Obviously, when I say zero talent, I mean he obviously have the love and talent for the game, but compared to others, it's slightly lower. But he come up with the huge motivation, practice, organized his time the best, like, and he learns from every game. Like he learns from his mistakes. You can see like when he come back from the stream to the Age of Empires, you can see with his streams how he is always like after each game analyze his losses. And each day improve little by little, and in the end, he catch up. Now, that's the problem. If meta keeps switching, Jordan will again fall down. But now when the meta is known, that he knows what he needs to do, he is probably top 10. Well, maybe even top 5.
So I think one of his problems is he's not good enough at adapting.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to have the clear mindset what to do, and he does it perfectly then. And that's why in the old times, when Jordan Viper era was going on, he was the only one able to beat Viper because they were all both doing the same thing, and it was mostly like handful, right? And Jordan execution was one of the best. It still is, and he was able to beat Viper. Like nobody else was able to, but Jordan was.
Interesting. Um, so why do you think Viper was so dominant during all that time? I think it must have been around 2013, 2020 that he was the best player in the world. What do you think made him so dominant?
No competition, that's what.
You think so?
No competition. Obviously, he's highly talented player. He's
Hmm.
very good. He was first one streaming, so he dedicated a lot of time as well.
Hmm.
Combine that, like, it's his profession, one of the first professional gamers for Age of Empires 2, talent, and he was already one of the best.
Hmm.
So obviously he is going to hold that spot for quite long. And
Hmm.
even now, I think, and everybody else say he is like washed up, and even myself, obviously it's a lie. He is still playing at the highest level ever, but I just like catching up. And now,
Hmm.
like small mistakes, not even mistakes, like the game become more strategy. Thank God. Now, small strategic misjudgment, people are taking the risk, taking the weird approach with the tips, and that's something I already advised to Viper. He needs not to play always super safe. He needs to be taking the risk strategies as well. Everybody is doing it. Like you cannot
Hmm.
just like this is the meta. I'm going to be playing meta. I'm going to win because I'm a better player. That's all true. You're probably the better player than everybody else. But if the slightly weaker player takes a small risk with the Syrian strategy, he'll get a big enough lead to finish the game. Like right now
Hmm.
in top 20 players with a small lead, everybody's winning the game.
Hmm.
You rarely see a huge comeback in the game.
Hmm. And would you say Viper was one of the talented guys who
Yeah,
knew
yeah.
how to adapt?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of implying that he likes to play safe and that he probably doesn't like to adapt and to, to improvise.
No. He's obviously super talented. He comes up with the meta. He is there to build up the meta and make it stronger, bulletproof. He just believes in his skills and he thinks he's the best and he doesn't want to take the risk. It's all
Hmm.
right approach. But now when it's best of 9, 11, how much in the final games, you can throw a few games in some risk strategies.
Hmm.
Like if you follow the StarCraft 2, they have the long series there, and usually several games are like cheesy strategies, like how they like to call them, like 10-minute game all in,
Hmm.
win or lose.
Hmm.
Something like that is good for Age of Empires 2 in the
Hmm.
long
Hmm.
series.
Hmm. Um, at some point, Darko, you around that time, I think actually, you severely injured your hand. I think it was your left hand. And in fact, it was so bad you had to stop playing for a while. So when did that happen? And how did it
Don't.
happen?
You know that as well.
I don't. I
I
don't. I
don't know
just.
the year. Think 14, 15, 16. I don't know.
Hmm.
Probably like 8 years ago.
You think it was before or after War is Coming?
Uh, 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 Let me think. After Boris come. No. Before Boris. No, I don't know.
Okay, so around that time, probably.
I don't know. I think after the Bertan League 7. Something like that. I know Cab was asking me to play the gym team match,
Hmm.
and I was not able to. Now I'm
Hmm.
not sure which tournament it was.
So if it was WCL7, it must have been 2012, around that time. So before War is Coming.
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm. So how did it happen?
Um, was on a vacation, seaside. Was young. Was drinking a lot with my friends.
Hmm.
Bottle fall down on the floor. My smart friend took the bottle, put it back on the table with the all sharpie things being there. And in some moment, I like did a full move with the hand over it, and yeah, just cut 8 stitches and cut the nerves and have no feeling on that hand anymore.
Wow. Okay, that sounds really painful.
Yeah.
And
At
I,
that
I hate
point, I
how
didn't even feel like that's the funniest part. Like it took me like
you were in shock. You were in shock.
no, I was not in shock. I was that drunk, so it took me like I don't know, half an hour to realize. Like I didn't even know it. I didn't have the pain or anything. But
Hmm.
like after some time, I see the blood, and I was like, "Whose blood is this? Like what's going
Hmm.
on?" And then
Hmm.
Frank came over. It's your blood, and then we rushed to the hospital.
Hmm.
Mm,
It needed stitches. You already said. I think you told me it's not. It's still not fully healed.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
hand, right? So, what do the doctors say? Will it ever be fully healed again?
They said in like 5, 6 years, you already passed more. It slowly recovers. It's like that nerve. is like the slowest growing thing in your body. It's
Mhm.
like, I don't know, 1 millimeter per year. So maybe in like 20 years I'll have full failing back.
But do you
But
notice it getting better?
yeah, every
Okay.
year it's slightly better. You get, I mean, I still have some feeling, but it's like when you sleep on your hand, you still have the feeling, but it's like clumsy, something like that. And it's getting
Mhm.
less and less clumsy each year, let's say.
Mhm. And do you think it prevents you from playing at full capacity?
Yes, it's
Okay.
not a lot, but I do misclick a lot. If you watch my streams, I do misclick a lot when I get Imperial Age and want to jump to make the meal, make whatever. I
Mhm.
could fix that problem with better hotkeys, but would need
You
some
still
time
play
to
with
get
the
used.
with the standard ones, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Amazing, amazing. Me too. So I'm gonna be you someday. um, when you stopped playing DauT, um, was it solely because of your injury, or were you also getting a bit bored with Age of Empires?
Mm, well, everything combined. Like there was no more events at that point. Tyrant sponsor kind of cool away a little bit. He didn't announce any big tournaments at that point. And my friends were mostly playing poker and making a really good money there. So
Mm-hmm.
it was natural for me to transition. You have only one good hand. What you're gonna do? You play the turn-based strategy then, which is
Mm-hmm.
poker. So in the end, I think maybe it was even a good thing to
Mm-hmm.
injure my hand. I had a really good time playing poker and some
Mm-hmm.
really good memories there,
Mm-hmm.
which I probably would never do if I didn't injure my hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think the one guy who brought you to poker was Hiko,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And I actually remember playing hundreds and hundreds of games with Hiko, mostly on the Land Nomad. He was
Yeah, he loves Nomad.
he was a great player. Did you know that everybody on Woobly thinks he's your brother? Did you know that?
I think they just do it for fun.
No meme. Everybody thought it. I'm absolutely. I thought it too until I heard it. You saying he's not.
No. We are not related.
All right. So I think Hiko is a very successful poker player, right?
I
Even
wouldn't call it
internationally.
successful.
Sorry?
I wouldn't call him successful. I think he is worse than me. Like he is super, like really highly talented player.
Uh-huh.
Like probably one of the most talented players I saw in poker. But he's lazier than me. Like he takes his winnings and he go gets drunk. Basically, that's how do repeat for the last 20 years. Like in poker, it's different because let's say money are your ELO, your points. You need to save them to play higher players.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just spend it away on alcohol or whatever, you will
He
never
needs to
be
start
able to
lower.
get yeah. And he always played the lower level, and he's obviously cannot lose there. It's safe
Mm-hmm.
place for him, but he will never improve.
Mm-hmm.
So he just basically playing for easy money and easy life.
Mm-hmm. Was playing poker your day job during that period?
Yeah. I never had a proper job. If you're asking that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking to get one yet.
Yeah, so I think you don't play poker anymore, right? So what
No.
made you stop?
Well, when I started streaming, I was still playing poker, and if you remember, I was like streaming then once a month.
Mm-hmm.
I had to make a decision, right? Like it was the sub numbers started raising, and I think at one point I had almost 200 subs, and I streamed maybe like 3 times a month, and I was like, I need to respect those subs. Eventually, it will grow even more, and like people are. I see like it's like TV. You sub for your HBO channel to get some content, and if you give me $5 per month, and I give you 10 hours per month, you will unsub. So
Mm-hmm.
either I
Mm-hmm.
go for that or I go for the poker. And since I was having a kid on the way, I decide for the more safer approach.
More stable.
More
Mm-hmm.
stable, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to come to streaming right away. Something else I still want to ask you. So during that time when you were playing poker, you were not as active anymore, but you didn't completely quit the game, right? So whenever a big tournament was announced, you would still participate most of the times. Was War is Coming, as we just mentioned before, 2014, was that maybe your favorite tournament for them period? Because I seem to remember you guys played the finals live in Dubai, in one of the Tyrant sponsors' many palaces.
Yeah. So what was the question?
Yeah, if that was one of your favorite tournaments, the War is Coming, during that time.
Yes, because of the Dubai trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew it will end up with Dubai, but the tournament as itself, I don't think it was that exciting, I must say.
Because the winners were clear from the
Yeah,
beginning?
the winners were clear. There was only SY who was able to compete with us, with Mr. Yo and the others. And
Let me try to remember. Paladin, Mr. Yo, Love Cheng, I think Lix wasn't there, and James. I think James was the
or
fourth
Good
guy.
Boy, I'm not sure.
Yeah, incredibly strong team.
Yeah. They were like the only competition, and obviously the Tyrant D or
The second Tyrant
Warlord,
team.
Yeah. But it was kind of clear that we will win, and like competition then and now, it's not even close. Now we can have a good team game tournament. We have a lot of teams. Back then, we were like semi-professionals, SY somewhat as well, and that's it. So it was only us, and it was not that exciting tournament, but the reward was quite exciting. Getting
The
to Dubai,
trip made it worth it.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously massively biased here, but my favorite tournament from that time was the WSVG tournament, and the final stage was played as a LAN in the Maldives. You unfortunately didn't make it to the LAN. You lost in the last stage right before it. You were in a group with Yo, Love Cheng, and Tato.
I remember Tato.
You remember? No,
Yeah.
You beat Tato, but then you lost Yo and Love Cheng. So what do you remember about it? Were you not motivated enough to make it to a LAN?
I think I was overconfident, to be honest. I was like, at that point, well, even now, I give my lowest to get where I think is my highest. So I was thinking I don't need to practice to get there. I was proven wrong. Like before that, I think it was Clash of the Titans tournament where I finished third.
Yeah, 1 year before that, 2 years, correct.
It was like I was thinking the same. Like, for example, in Clash of the Titans, Jordan and Viper were highly dominated player. They were like always beating everybody, and
the two best. Yeah,
two best. So in order for me to compete with them, I would have to invest a lot of time, right? Practice every day, and still probably lose or maybe win. Doesn't matter. A lot of time, and doesn't guarantee me to win. I would rather use that time playing poker and actually earn some money. So I was like playing, and the best thing, competition was a bit lower. So even with zero practice, I was third, right? So I didn't need to invest a lot of time to always get the third place. So I was like relying on that for quite a long time. And at that point, I think competition started to spike up with Yo getting really good, Lao Cheng and others, Tato getting on the map as well. So yeah,
he wasn't a Tyrant back then. He was Wolfpack was the clan.
Wolfpack, and I think he was already like 2.1, 2.2 when I played him.
He was strong. He was very strong already. Yeah.
And I actually beat him, and I was okay, I will qualify. It's no problem. Those new guys know nothing. I was overconfident, and I was proven wrong.
So you already mentioned that you started streaming mostly because you wanted something more stable. I think your first stream was 2017. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember years, but you obviously do.
Well, what I did is I just went through your past broadcasts, and the very first stream shows up 2017. But I don't know if Twitch deletes the past broadcast, so I don't know.
I think so.
Viper said he was the one who convinced you to start streaming. Is that true?
No, it's a lie. Yes, Viper is... I hope he will not gonna watch this podcast. But yeah, he is obviously like maybe another person who helped me so much during my life for no reason at all. Was like, he was like coming to me like, DauT, you start a stream, the Age of Empires is growing, it's a popular game, people would like to see your gameplay. And he was knowing I have my wife is pregnant, and he was like, you need more stable income, trust me, it will be worth it. And so I did get a new computer, I set it up, I trust him, and again, huge thanks to Viper, because I'm kind of living a really smooth life here with all the support from viewers, all support from the big companies making the tournaments, and the good decision, and all because of the Viper.
Well, if you attract those people, if you attract people that are so nice to you, like K-Cap and Viper, that means you are doing something right, man. That's what it means.
I don't know.
So I think your stream is absolutely amazing. You're funny, you're entertaining, you're smart, and you're incredibly knowledgeable about the game. So, I was never a good player, but I've been playing it for so long and following the professional scene for such a long time that I think I have a decent grasp on how the game works, even at higher levels. However, every time I watch your stream, at some point, you will always say at least one thing about the game that completely blows my mind, something I hadn't even considered to be a thing. And again, most of the times this only happens to me when I watch your
No,
stream.
what can I say?
Yeah, so this made me realize there really seems to be a deeper layer of knowledge about this game that only very few people have access to, obviously, you being one of them. So you think this is the main reason you are still able to be at the top of the game? I mean, considering you
Well,
regularly compete against people like Leary, who are much younger than you, tends to be faster than you, and who honestly have more time to grind than you.
well, certainly it's not the speed that makes me compete still.
I
So
think people exaggerate that, man. You're fast. You're not as fast as Hero and Leary, but you're fast.
yeah, it's like I know I can get everything done that I need to do. Sometimes my wood will jump for food because battle is going on, but that's not a huge problem in this game. You get rid of that as soon as battle is over. Yeah, I think my speed is fine. It's more about micro. I cannot. I just cannot. I cannot click those things. I cannot split. I cannot run away. That thing just came natural. That's something that I don't have talent for, like
Hmm.
Jordan.
Hmm.
I just cannot do that ever.
Yeah, but my point is, a lot of people win games by doing that. You win by not doing that. So you think it's this deep knowledge about the game that brings you to the top of the game.
Obviously, yes. I play longest. I understand the game while I play. I don't just follow the build order somebody else made. That also helps. And also, when I play the better players, for example, Leary, which everybody thinks I constantly beat, he's obviously a better player. But I recognize, like, I'm not overconfident young fool anymore. I
Hmm.
know where my place is. I know Leary
Hmm.
will beat me up if he does the same thing, which is the meta. So I always try to draft a little bit different, give him the tips he doesn't like. I get the tips I don't like, but I get him out of the comfort zone
Hmm.
and stuff like that.
And you beat him in experience. Such an interesting take. Um, 2017, I think, was the year you became a father, right?
Don't ask me dates.
Oh,
Yes,
come on.
that's
It's
what
your
I
kid,
remember.
man.
That's what I remember. Yes.
It's your kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's 4 years old, right? So it
Yeah.
must have
Yeah.
been
Yeah. Yeah.
2017. Now, for whatever reason, none of my closest friends have any kids. So I
Same.
obviously can't talk to them about these things. And I'm curious how becoming a father has changed you, because it has definitely changed me a lot. So, we already talked a little bit about it the other day, and both your first kid and my twin boys, they had kind of a difficult start to life, which meant that both of us as parents had a kind of a rough time dealing with it. But putting that aside, what has changed for you since you became a father?
Mm, Age of Empress wise, life wise, life completely
Life
changed.
wise, personality wise, actually.
Personality, I cannot. I'm changing every year without or with kids. Like I cannot say I was the same person now and 10 years ago, or before kids, like 5 years ago and 6 years ago. I was different as well. Every year
Mm-hmm.
I kind of change a little bit. We all do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the life wise, when kids come, it's like people always say when you lose touch with your friends because of the kids, it's like it's because people get lazy, they lose the time. Don't be like that. It's hard. It's hard to maintain all that. Like you have so much time for a certain amount of people in your life, and I just have two new people in my life. So some old one basically has to go, or
Mm-hmm.
I will. Somebody will not have my time, either kids or my friends,
Mm-hmm.
or need to find the perfect balance, or sleep less, or whatever, rest less. It's hard to balance that out.
Mm-hmm.
So like before, I was hanging out with my friends a lot more. Now, luckily, if I see them once a month, that's like the big change. Although that's also periodic as well. It also depends what your friends are doing. For example, with Hiko, who is obviously doing nothing, playing poker, with him, I can hang out whenever I like. Basically, he
Mm-hmm.
is there. Like I left, for example, if we were not doing this right now, when I drop my kids to the grandparents, I would just pick him up and we will go to the shisha place
I go to him. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
because I know he's always available. But if he
Mm-hmm.
had the kids as well, that's it. We need to schedule. We
Mm-hmm.
basically need to schedule, and I
Mm-hmm.
need to schedule the events. I need to schedule my work. I need to stream. I need to take care of the family as well. Even need to get to the store. Need to, I don't know. Next week I have to put the car to the shop, and there's always something going on, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to take the time for everything.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when you have a kid, you don't have the option of saying, Yeah, I'm just not going to take care of the kid and going to
Yeah,
go with my friends. You don't have the option. You're not number one in your life
yeah,
anymore,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So everything is dependent on them. Um, DauT, since we've made it to a more personal topic, there's something else I'm curious about. My wife was born in Croatia, and she's roughly the same age we are. And back then, Croatia was part of the so called former Republic of Yugoslavia, which was, a very troubled part of the world. And its breakup has led to several years of war in the region. Now, my wife's parents, they fled the country during the war and moved to Germany. My wife was only 5 years old, and she obviously remembers fleeing the country, but I don't think this ended up being a very traumatic experience for her. She was still very young. It was much harder for her parents, of course, who had no money, had to start their lives from zero. I believe you have lived in Belgrade all your life, though.
Hmm.
So I'm curious, how did the war affect someone like you who did not flee the region and who lived through the whole thing? How did it affect you?
For Belgrade, not a lot, right? The war did not touch the Belgrade. It was more about the border part of the country and the a bit older people who had to go to the war, like they were in their 20s. I was like 5, 6 years old back then. So also my parents did not let me feel the war, right? They were basically didn't feel it. Basically,
Hmm.
they were like I was
They shielded
lucky.
you.
Yeah, they shielded. They was lucky enough that they take care of everything. Like I didn't feel like we didn't have anything missing. Like if I wanted to eat candy, I get candy. If I wanted, like we didn't have problem with the food or whatever that I feel like a lot of people elsewhere in the
Had.
country got.
Hmm.
So didn't feel it that heavily. Obviously, it's not the best thing. It's hard. It's hard subject, right?
Hmm.
In my opinion, that war it makes no sense because we were all same people. Like I would love that Croatia. I would love that Yugoslavia still exists. Basically,
Hmm.
think we are all having the same language, share the same sense of the humor, share everything. There was for this perspective, and if it was like now, 21st century, when people more understand each other, the war would never happen.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
back then, maybe it was like we are Serbians, we are Croatians, we defend ours. Who cares? Like
Mm.
for example, your wife parents just go to other country, and now people do that daily. Like you go where it's better place to live. You don't real you respect tradition. It's always nice to have. Okay, I'm from here. You're from Portugal, right? You always like Portuguese too, but you will live where it's better place for your life. Like
Hmm.
the life is short. You want to be happy. You don't want to spend your life defending other people's interests.
Hmm.
And I think people understanding that in 21st century, and back then it was a different story, I guess.
Hmm. Awesome take, man. Awesome. Um, Back to Age of Empires. I remember a 24-hour stream you made. You had a segment where you showed us old recorded games of you playing versus old legends. And you were talking us through the games and talking about how things were different in those times. And I could tell you had really fond memories of those days. And your chat was loving it. Everybody was on board. Everybody was interested in what you had to say. And I also could tell that made you very happy too. And then, in a separate occasion, a couple of weeks later, I think this was right after Neely joined your team. You were casting a game between him and NBL, and NBL absolutely destroyed Neely. And you basically predicted every single move NBL did. It was really impressive to watch. But the way you talked about it was like, oh, NBL is going to do this, then he's going to do that. It it made it sound like you were a little bit bored
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
game in general. So I'm kind of curious these days, what's your relationship to the game like? Do you still love it, or do you mostly play it because it pays your bills?
Uh, Bit of both. I love the game, and I know people hate the new Thieves and Balance all the time. I like it. It refreshes the game.
Hmm.
It's like I said, when I watched MBL Nearly that game,
You
I
remember it?
don't remember exactly the game, but it's not that hard to predict what MBL will do. I will make a wall here. I will make two screens, one mangonel. I will boom out. I will wait for my strong unique units, and I will win in Imperial Age. Uh, the game, when you know everything that will happen from moment one to the end of the game, it's obviously not fun.
Hmm.
Today, that's not the case because we have a lot more saves, different balance, and wars kicking heavily. So the game is a lot to explore again, and that's the fun part.
Hmm.
Now about the paying the bill, and that's the I enjoy the game, but the paying the bill part that I don't enjoy is, for example, if I would stream, I would stream 5 games maximum. If I would stream for myself,
Mm-hmm,
5 games, I would have fun and that's it. But that would be like 2 hours, and that's not enough.
Not enough. Not
So
enough.
you need to stream like 6-7 hours. I rarely am able to do that. Even
Mm-hmm,
4 or 5 is my maximum.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, that's the part where you start not enjoying that game, and that's usually when I start calling the stream. Like I can see myself being bored, and I guess
mm-hmm,
viewers see that I'm bored, and I just call the stream off.
mm-hmm. Do you have that same feeling when you play a tournament? Because Age of Empires, well, at least finals and semifinals tend to have these really drawn out series. Does that same feeling apply when you play a tournament?
No. In tournaments, the
You're
hype is
focused.
it's
You're
like,
focused.
and depends on the type of the tournament, but usually you're prepared for every single matchup. Like on the Arabia, I will have this team, I have this plan. On islands, this plan. On I don't know, mountain passes, other plan. So you have already full idea what you're gonna do every game, and you're just going game after the game, and obviously adapting to what enemy is doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you're like following the plans. You already know what you want to do. Basically, I have the full series in my head already,
You
and just
plan it in
going, yeah,
advance.
yeah,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and just going one game by one game, and you don't feel the time passing or anything. It's different.
Awesome. Um, is Age of Empires 2 DE the best version of the game we've ever had?
Yes, by miles.
I
I know
think
we
so too.
always say thanks D and stuff like that. That's a meme. The
Mm-hmm,
devs did amazing job. The servers are amazing. Like we now run into problems like you cannot join the game or something, like it's lagging out. But people are spoiled now. Remember with what we used to have to deal like you drop all the time. Sure, we had
mm-hmm.
restore, but you drop from restore. It was a nightmare.
It was a
Now,
nightmare.
like once a month, you have some issues. Obviously, there's maintenance, there's some problems always, but they always tend to fix it, and we get a stable
Mm-hmm,
game going. So they're doing
mm-hmm,
an amazing job. The balance was never better. The amount of saves is obviously the highest one ever, so it's even harder to keep the balance. And basically, everything is at the highest level ever for Age of Empires 2.
I tend to agree. We are told the devs are regularly in contact with top players, to discuss questions regarding balance and whatever. Apparently, there's this ultra super secret Discord group, which only a few select people have access to. Are you part of that group?
I think I am.
You think you
I
are?
am. I think you know me. I don't check that things. I
Okay,
am
so you're
part of
not you're
some
not
groups there.
active.
Yeah, I'm not
You're
that
not
active.
active in
I
the
think
group.
I'm in that part of the group. Maybe not in that super secret. I don't even know the difference. I rarely check it. Never.
Mhm. But why not? Because I mean, someone with 20 years of experience playing at the highest level, that's the kind of person I would wish would be active in such a group, dedicated to the game's
Well,
balance.
then we are back to the paying the bills part of the of the life, right? If I have extra time, I would rather go now to the shisha bar than like doing somebody else work. If they want my input, well, I will take the streaming hours off or whatever. I will not sign up for the tournament and put my hours into hope fixing their game. Like that's the difference. Now I'm 36-year-old. When I was 20 and they did that, I would be doing that 24 hours a day for nothing. Just like please mention me. Like I
Mm-hmm,
want to be
mm-hmm,
there. I want to be part of the team. Now I have other priorities, right?
mm-hmm. Interesting. Darko, Redbull Wololo 5 is coming. It'll be played as a LAN in Heidelberg, which, funny enough, happens to be just like 80 kilometers away from my house. You, as the winner of Redbull Wololo 3, are, of course, a very serious contender for the top spot. Feeling confident?
No.
No, why not?
Somewhat confident. I didn't tend to do well in the LAN events there in the NAC, but also maybe it has to do with something with the amount of the beer that was served. I will try to skip that this time. And I can. It's too early to judge if I will be confident or not because I didn't start the practice yet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I know I can do really good. I already proved that I can win the damn thing. And Yo is missing. That's bad for him. Good for me.
Mm-hmm. Is Yo someone you've historically struggled against, playing against?
Yes, but recently
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like
Mm-hmm.
for the 3-4 years, I think I had the biggest problem for him against him. But like last 6 months or so, I don't have that same feeling anymore. Think I'm okay. Let's go, Yo. Think
Mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
more than able to beat him. Think maybe I improved, maybe my mindset improved, or whatever. I think I don't struggle against you that heavy anymore. I struggle against him because he's a top 4 player. Obviously, everybody struggles, but I don't see like anything special struggle against him than, for example, against Viper here or Leary.
You think your ability, we've discussed this before, but your ability to improvise, to adapt, and considering this is a new game mode, you think that's what makes you, I mean, you're a great player anyway, but you think that's one of the things that puts you at the top, makes you one of the top contenders for Red Bull Wololo 5?
Lower now because we had 4 tournaments. A lot of people practice, and they will practice even more when they saw the prize pool, right? So the game mode is getting more known, and people already kind of have the meta with early walling surprise. But yeah, people already know what the strong tips are, and will not be so easy to come up with the fancy stuff. But now I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this or not. But GL will have their own practice in their
like a boot camp.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that kind of gives me the confidence. I think if you all put there together, play every day, maximum effort, maximum time, I think scarier player would be the Jordan. Actually, I think really? Jordan might be the scariest one.
Because of his discipline and his eagerness.
And he will learn everything from us. He will have all the meta prepared. He will know every move he needs to make, and he'll be fully trained. So he might be the
Is he a confident player? You think he's a confident player?
He say he is. From what I feel myself, he's super confident against everybody but top 4. Like when he gets to the play top 4 player, here or Leary or whatever, he's like, okay, I did enough. I did my maximum. I get here. That's it. Then he's like laughing, and I in his games play, I feel like he loses sharpness. Like I saw that in his series against Leary in the Viper tournament, Open Cup, and in the Hidden Cup against Hera. It felt like I got to the finals. I did amazing. Now I'm playing Hera. I cannot beat that. Let's just celebrate right away. That's how it felt.
The exact same feeling.
Now he'd say it's not. I cannot obviously. You need to ask him. This is just my view on it.
What's your opinion in general on the Empire Wars mode? You think it has the potential to replace RM?
Yeah, I think it should replace RM, and really? I think it should be a bit different. It shouldn't be exactly like this. Maybe a bit less villagers, maybe a bit less lumber camps, so they don't spawn so badly. Something in between. Like having the 10-minute game, Empire War, like everything is done. You have full gameplay. In random map, you just click Feudal Age. So that's kind of a huge deal, especially when you play for 20 years and you don't want to push those deals anymore. You just don't want to scout for ships. And ship scouting, Empire Wars is definitely the future, but not how it presently looks like. It needs a lot of work.
Okay, but what do you think? What would you say about people who argue that Dark Age is a very important part of the game because that's when you get to scout your opponent, try to get some information what he's doing? Because the critique I've heard many times before is that in Empire Wars you don't have enough time to see what your opponent is doing, and that's something you would typically do during Dark Age.
That's why I say something in between. Empire Wars is not obviously optimal. The biggest deal is the game balance right now is for the Dark Age. Like, for example, Lithuanians lost their bonus, or Persians as well. Like the balance is completely for the Dark Age. Indians, Japanese lumber camps are not cheaper. Doesn't make sense, right? You don't get extra wood. A lot of balance is missing there. And the scouting info, obviously, it hurts a bit less now because people are more known with the mode. You know how to scout right away, where to scout and stuff. But yes, it starts too fast. Needs to be slower. Maybe when you spawn, you're in Dark Age, but you're already like able to click up. You have 500 food, and then you start scouting and preparing, something like that. It's hard. It's really, really need a lot of balancing there because the smallest detail, like one extra villager, one extra farm, it changes everything. Like it needs a lot of touching there.
So you would agree that that's one of the things that holds back Age of Empires, that it's too slow in its current state? I mean, I'm talking RM right now.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Okay.
it's the beauty of the game as well, for sure. Like
I
building the
agree.
empire from nothing, it's why we are all here. Like we all probably love the history, and like when you start with only 2 villages and then eventually you have a huge empire of paladins and castles and stuff, it's wonderful. But for the competition part of the game, we need to split it up.
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
don't want to watch, at least random map. It's fine if it's best of 5 maximum.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine best of 11 random map, that would take forever.
That's I agree 1000%. I think you remember this, of course, but series used to be so long because we had no tournaments, and so we wanted to have them really drawn out so that people would have a chance to play in a tournament for a long time. But now, when we have an S tier tournament every month, I think we don't need best of 7, best of 9 series anymore. Actually. And
Especially,
the maps are better, more fair.
Yeah,
You don't need restarts anymore. I think we need to come away from that. That's still one thing that's we've kept from the old days, but needs to go. I think
exactly
so too.
that. Now everything is fair. Everybody knows the meta. Nobody will like lose unluckily anymore. So best of 5 random map is more than enough,
Mhm.
especially for the viewers. Like best of 7 random map,
Too much.
it's like watching the Dark Age over and over 7 times. It's painful, especially for the new viewers. I think everybody will skip that and join a bit later when the action starts and they don't know what happened before, and it's a mess. In Empire Wars, the action starts right away, so you can follow the game. But again, too fast, it got its own issue, and the map lag also can be really huge there with the spawning spots. Like just how the mining camp spawn can be a huge deal, let alone berries and everything else.
Okay, Darko, I'm about to let you go. Are you excited for Age of Empires 4?
As a streamer, well, yes, yes. I'm just thinking, like, as a player, yes. As a streamer, yes.
So yes.
Yes. So basically, yes.
Have you played it? I think you
Yes.
can share. If you're playing on the beta, you can share.
Yes, I played it. Now, I already discussed this several times. People are expecting Age of Empires 2. It should not be Age of Empires 2. We have Age of Empires 2. It should be a different game. Like, maybe you hate Age of Empires 3, but it's a different game. It's a good game. Compared to Age of Empires 2, I think it's a weaker game. That's my opinion. But it's still an amazing game and worth to play it. It's a fun game. Now, Age of Empires 4, I believe it to be a really fun game to play. It might not be the same quality Age of Empires 2, but it still will be a quite solid game, in my opinion.
Okay, so I hear in your voice that you think Age of Empires 2 is not going to go away. Not going to go away anytime soon.
Probably not. Like, people are still playing on the WoW, right?
Fair point. Fair point.
And on HD as well. So I don't think Age of Empires 2 will go away. Maybe.
Yeah, not only that, numbers are going up.
Yeah, exactly. So there is room for both of the games. And the only thing that can be bad for the Age of Empires 2 is if all the sponsors, all the money go to Age of Empires 4. That will attract us. Even if I like Age of Empires 2, I will play Age of Empires 4. I'm not gonna lie. If there is a big tournament there and in Age of Empires 2 where I have a show match, I will reschedule the show match. I'll play the big event. Even if I don't like that game so much. So that's maybe a problem, but that's life, I guess.
That's how it is, yeah. But then again, if it sticks, that means Age of Empires 4 is a great game, right? So that's fine. Yeah. All right.
It's like Age of Empires can be slightly weaker game and still more popular just because of the investment. And people will judge that, like sell out and stuff, but just how it is. You cannot remove Age of Empires 4 from your life if there is $1 million prize pool. You will have to compete with it. You will have to practice for it. You will have to stream it. And Age of Empires 2 competitive scene will die, but game will probably live.
Darko, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was really awesome.
You're welcome. Glad you liked.